And good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Corey from The Abundant Artist. And today is day 3 of our week-long celebration of 10 years of The Abundant Artist being in existence. If you're new here and you don't know me and you don't know The Abundant Artist, at theabundantartist.com, we teach artists how to sell their art. And we've been around for about 10 years. So this week, I decided to spend a little bit of time each morning, 5 minutes, talking about what I've learned in 10 years of working with artists. Today's topic is showing up and communicating. Okay, I feel like so much of life is just literally just showing up when you say you're going to show up, and then communicating with people and letting them know what you're doing and what's going on, what to expect. This is just basic professional conduct, but I think those of us who are experienced can forget that for beginning entrepreneurs, beginning artists, that it can be really daunting to even know what professional conduct is, right? So there's just some basic things that I want to talk about and some additional resources that you may or may not have heard of. So the first things first, setting yourself a schedule, like just showing up and working at the same time every day, is so helpful, right? You can get a lot of work done if you're like, I'm going to work in the morning today and I'm going to work in the evening tomorrow, and then the next 3 days I'm going to find an hour here or there that I can work. But that sort of schedule is maddening, right? So probably one of the most important rules that I've learned is to just set yourself a working schedule. Maybe you get up early in the morning and you work from 6 to 8 every day before you go to your day job, or in the evening, you work every evening from 6 to 8 or what. I don't know why I chose 6 to 8, but that's just the way it is. Twyla Tharp, in her book, The Creative Habit, talks about the fact that every morning she walks to her studio, she does her administrative work in the morning, 8 to 10, and then she's free the rest of the day to choreograph. She's a choreographer. And that book, by the way, The Creative Habit, is full of brilliant ways in which you can sort of create structure and repetition in your day-to-day life so that you are free to be as creative as you want in your practice, whether it's making painting or sculpture or dance or whatever it is that you do. Use a calendar. I am amazed how few people that I know use a calendar. I could not run my life. My life is too busy. There's too many things. There's too many appointments. Use a calendar, whether it's a digital calendar or a paper calendar. You know, some people just have like a planner or notebook like this where they write down what they're supposed to do every day. Some people, like me, keep a digital calendar where they schedule every appointment. Every morning I have a 2-hour block where I do my writing and planning and thinking, like the more creative tasks that I need to do, the more brain intensive tasks, so that I have all my meetings and everything later on in the day, right? So it's really important to carve out that in the most important time so that you can make sure that you get your work done. So responding to communication, this is another one that I see. It's not necessary for you to respond to every email within 24 hours. That's just not reasonable, especially when you get really busy. But it is important to try to communicate and respond back and set expectations for people. Let people know, hey, I usually respond to my emails within a couple days, and then stick to that. It is also important to learn to communicate professionally. This means good basic writing skills. I'll have a lot of artists come to me and say, oh, I went to theater, I went to art school, I went to theater school or whatever, and I didn't learn how to write. And okay, well, they didn't teach you how to write there. That means it's going to be important for you to learn how to communicate professionally on your own. And there's lots and lots of books and resources that will show you how to do that. Then the other one that comes up a lot with artists, especially when they start to get some success, is learning how to do things like read basic contracts, right? So understanding what a licensing contract entails, understanding, putting together basic contracts for commissions, and making sure that you put those in place with everybody, even friends. Contracts protect you and they protect them. And when there's a misunderstanding or a dispute over what was agreed to, you both have something written down that you know you can refer to, so that there's a neutral arbitrator, right? So these sort of professional conduct standards are super, super important. And I want to throw out a few other books. I mentioned The Creative Habit by Twyla Tharp. I'm going to move I'm also broadcasting to Instagram, so I'm moving some things back and forth while I'm talking. Creative Sandbox Rules by Melissa Dinwiddie. Great for trying to figure out how to be more creative. Also great for figuring out how to structure your life so you can be creative. The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran is my go-to book for figuring out like scheduling stuff and planning strategy. My friend Charlie Gilkey has a new book coming out in September called Start Finishing. Highly recommend that you pre-order that book. I've seen an early copy. I have a galley copy. It is fantastic. And he has been teaching productivity skills to creatives for more than a decade. So he really knows his stuff. Great book. If you're somebody who has a really hard time communicating professionally, understanding how to talk to people, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards will help you with your communication and with your body language, respectively, those two books. If you are wondering, if you're trying to write all this down and you're like, Corey, you're going too fast, I can't write all this down. If you are on our mailing list, you will get a link to, we're creating a compendium with all of these resources. And then a transcript of these videos and links to all the books and resources that we mention. I'll also mention my favorite tools for some of the things we've talked about here. Google Calendar. I use Google Calendar for my digital calendar. I use Evernote to keep all my notes in. And then when I am just writing stuff, when I'm not in front of my computer, I use a notebook, just a bullet journal or what is this, Moleskine. If you are not on our mailing list, head over to theabundantartist.com. And register there. And then you should be able to, if you go to the lessons page or the courses page on theabundantartist.com, there's a link to these resources, the little course that we put together with these resources. So thanks so much, everybody, for taking the time to be here with me today. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about the 50-50 rule. Those of you who've been with us for a while, you know the 50-50 rule. You know that it's super important. And tomorrow we'll be talking more about that. Thanks so much, everybody, and have a good day.